Hi there, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I'm reviewing today the Sisterhood of the Seers Oracle. And I understand this is from Hay House, so it's a pre-release. And you can see that it's by Athena and illustrated by Ana Santos. So Hay House put a beautiful deck together here for us. The box has got that nice matte finish. I love the illustration on the front, and the inside is quite exquisite as well, with the little bees here collecting their nectar. So this deck has quite a bit going on for it, being a 44 card deck, although I must say I would have liked another 2 cards, because the way I've broken it down here is we have the sisters, the seers first, and they've given 11 cards to that. I would have liked 2 more, so it would have been 13 like a coven, because I would have used this at phases of the moon and had all the seers around and maybe chosen a few, maybe had them all up. Not sure, but 2 more cards would have been. The cat's meow. Now, as far as symbology goes, the swan is a perfect choice for the front because I look at the swan as from, I guess, the early books that I read, you know, the ugly duckling turns into the swan. You've got the beautiful ballets that go on every year. And the swan really is about transformation. So instead of saying the ugly swan, let's say the swan with some bits that need improving. And this is a deck that can take us there. It's so well done with watercolors. It is breathtaking on some of the images. You could pick out the little ladybug there. And again, it takes me to that other rhyme, like ladybug, ladybug, fly away home. So I think this is zoning in on finding our home, our peace, our place, and transforming parts of us, looking at parts of us, accepting certain areas that are within us. And if we wish to change, then we can meditate with the sisters or the other remaining cards and hopefully, you know, get the job done. It does have a nice booklet and it fits nicely in the box. I think there's something like 100 and some pages, 116 if you go into the author there. There are ways of working with the cards at the front and blessing the cards, like you've got a 3-card one here. So it gives you some questions too that you could ask, like what is the core of the matter? What do I need to know and where is it headed? That's simple enough. This one is foresight and then hindsight. So, you know, sometimes it's best to think things through before we act so that we don't have to go to the hindsight spread and see what goes wrong. But there are some really good questions in here to ask yourself when you approach the cards. So I've got it laid out so that we can see, and you can see there's a black fly around here once in a while. Sorry, I live in the woods and they follow us in. So please excuse that. But I've got the 11 seers here, and each of them has a different focus. So I thought we'd look at those 11, and then we'll go on to the other cards. So back to symbolism so far, what I found was the swan, definitely. And when I Googled it, the swan comes up for something of wisdom and inner beauty, which is great to go along with this deck. Seeing into the future, grace, elegance, and I added in fluidity. I mean, you've got that with grace, but the swan, and I would like to see if this is going to be a fluid type deck. That would be, I'm still trying to catch this bug. And then the swan can also stand for prosperity, which was interesting. I liked the rose on the image that came in the box, because that to me is the layers of our beauty as well as the community with the bee and being active at, working through our thing, whatever our thing happens to be, and that can change. But I think this is also a great summer deck. The rose to me is also beauty, and as I said, the layers. But you've got the thorns here. So one of the other practices I worked with, I think it was the thorn-blooded witch. These thorns are the steps that we go through and sometimes the pain that we feel when we're transforming. The backs are really neat because the full moon to me, that is one of the ones that I always turn to. I don't quite follow all the other cycles, sometimes the new moon, but generally I look forward to and watch for the full moon. So I like that because it is something that we do as a cycle. Sometimes we pay attention to the cycles we're going through. We look at what is coming to completion. I looked up and I don't see that these plants are nightshade. That would have been kind of nifty. But I do like the full moon there because, you've got your intuition, you've got your mystery. The moon brings depths, completion, and being able to see things through. So the flowers to me, I guess, in here are, growth. And it is a good cardstock. It is matte finish. So, and the rounded corners make it very comfortable. I haven't read through all of the information, but I thought we'd touch a little bit on each of the seers, because in the book it does give us a little invocation that we can do with them. And you can see that you've got the seer of spirit, nature, light, stories, healing, and dreams. And the healing one interests me quite a bit, but let's get on to looking at the cards. So that first one in the top left-hand corner here it has some keywords. It's got devotion, trust, and the universe. But its little invocation, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Sister Spirit, foreseer of the divine, look for me in the large and small as I am in it all. When you place judgment onto our experience, you lose your connection to all that is. And it goes on. But she's definitely intent. I like the idea of the feathers there because that is air, that is thought, that can be spirit. And she's trying to tune into those thoughts, I guess, and look for help from spirit. And then we go on to the seer of nature. And it does have those earthy tones to it, which is great. I am the seer of nature, sister to spirit. You will see my signs written in the sand and the sky. Know that the stars and their keepers know thy name. And it talks about moving in accordance with the natures of law and finding our harmony. So that one is kind of nice. And then we have our seers of light. Now I wonder if we can use that with Reiki perchance, because when I do Reiki, I'm always pulling in the light energy and tapping into the light. Now the grounding comes into the nature one with authenticity and abundance. And then the seer of light, we get inner guidance, medical nature, that's sort of healing, and cooperation. So when we go into the invocation, it talks about, for the seer of light, card 3, Sister of Light, Rainbow Seer, journey with me on the path of inner sight. I will send you gifts of intuition and inner knowing. As you choose to see is as you will create. Now, the next line is kind of neat because it talks about a bridge. And when we do Reiki, we are sort of creating a bridge between the energies. So bridge the mysteries confidently, and you will come to receive my bountiful offerings. So that's a possibility for some self-healing. And the irises are always nice for knowledge. You've got a dragonfly there. So there's lots of symbols that you can seek out. Now, most of the cards she indicated have eyes open, because the idea from what I read is pulling back the veil and seeing. So if our eyes are open, then we get to see. And these are the seers. Okay, so then we're going down here to the seer of stories. As the keeper of spirit stories and the seer of spirals, I ask you to step into the realm of legacy, both ancient and knowing and new and developing. I am your family and you are mine, woven through time as tales of fate, and on again. So some of the stories that we have in our lives from, I guess, what we've experienced, they're key to us seeing our way forward sometimes, and key to tapping into those so that we can tell our stories and move forward and try to understand, like the butterfly here, the transformation, how those stories have changed us, how those experiences have changed us. And this frontal vision here is quite intense. It's like she's really, really looking deep within us as we perceive her. All right, now we're into the seer of healing. And it looks like a dove there for peace. Now I'm noticing too that some of the faces are directional. So when you're doing a spread, it'll be interesting to see which card is talking to which. So the seer of healing, sister of third sight, I am the foreseer of all that needs healing. As you read these words, know that there is no form that cannot change. In the mind's eye, a tree can become a house as easily as a square can become a circle. So too can a boulder on your path become a brick you build a palace from. The writing is really, really inspiring. That's nice to see. Okay, so now we're moving on to the seer of dreams. As the seer of visions, Mother Night, I reveal secrets to you in your sleep and your dreams. Speak to me before you slumber, and you will receive my answers. I am there with you in your nightly travels and flights of vision. It is easy for you to experience all realms, because you are awake and aware, asleep and aware, which means that you are awareness itself. Okay? Now there's another couple under here. So we've seen the first 6. This is number 7, the seer of shine. And I guess I better get going on. So you can see that there's creativity, see and be seen and be worthy. We have 8, the seer of change. And she has the fox symbol, whereas the seer of shine has the hare symbol. And the seer of change is about surrender, acceptance, and fortitude. Okay, nice to see an elderly woman. And you can see her power animal there with the antlers. And her words are seership, you are safe, and soften. It is quite a soft looking card. Very nice. Then we have the one that's on the front of the box, the seer of destiny, for fortune, right timing, and synchronicities. And 11 is the seer of mystery, relax, surrender, trust. So we do have a couple women here that are older, and that's nice to see. So there's our swan for her, and this one looks like the whale coming in here, along with some constellations. So as you play with the cards, I guess, and spend some time with them, you'll start to see a little bit more symbolism. So I'm just going to pause, take these away, and we'll get on to the rest of the deck. Okay, so there is card number 12. So the setup is a little bit different because we're getting a sentence. All right, so pay attention to signs. And I always look at birds as messengers, so that's a good one for me. But he's also looking like he's carrying a scroll here. So definitely messages coming. And he is facing the future, so that's good. A good partnership. So we have our 2 bees that was on the inside of the box. Activate appreciation. Okay, I guess the hands are open to receive and then appreciating what we receive. Call back your power. That's the first sort of gray deck, gray card that we've seen. Abundance and prosperity for 16. So we got our bees going on again, 3 of them there. Focus on self-care. Get that straight for you. All right. 18. Many paths to a bright future. It's interesting that there's water there. So instead of a path through that we can walk, I guess we're going into the depths of our emotions. Hear with your heart. So there's a lot of feather play in this. Your presence is requested. Reality mirrors you. Joy in the in-between. Tales in all time spaces. That would be a nice one to have with the seer card. That is the stories. Dreams, mystery, destiny, healing, stories. Yeah, that'd be a nice pairing because the key can unlock the stories. It's nice that that brings in ancestors as well. Okay. Release your agenda. Activate peace and calm. So that one would be nice with, I guess, our dreams as well as healing. The sacred pause. So our seahorse. And the male is the one who gives birth to the babies, as far as I remember. Dream your true north. You could have the destiny card with that, and, the mystery card to relax and surrender and trust that your dreams are heading in the right direction and that timing and synchronicity is your friend. Ooh, that would be good. Okay, your big dream. I'm playing here. I like this deck. Dreams do come true. Anything is possible. An invitation to your life. Now there is the hair card there for the seer of shine with the hair and the hair. Okay. Moment as meditation. So the fish for the water element again. This is an initiation. Ooh, now that one is nice. Maybe with the Seer of Change, if we surrender and accept. Nice. Build a strong foundation and learn to tell a different story, I guess, if things aren't working out for you. You've got the fox there with it that is waiting, and he waits for the right opportunity. Yeah, these cards are speaking quite well. Fierce positivity. I do like the ones with the eyes and the faces. See things clearly. A higher perspective. Sacred courage. Trying to pick one here. I don't know if that's the right one. I guess change is nice, to have the courage to change. Grace is activated in your life. Fate versus destiny. Allowing it to arrive. Higher forces at play. There's a cutie, infinite possibilities. With the Seer of Nature, maybe. I think I'll do a little 3-card at the end here. And we'll just see what our message is. And activate the sisterhood. Yeah, and give me 2 more cards so I can have my coven. Yeah. So let me pause, shuffle the cards for a seer and for 1 or 2 cards for the remainder. Hang tight. Okay, I am back. The other thing I was going to say is I have a strong urge to use labradorite and rose quartz on my table when working with these 2 decks, along with some rose essential oil. It just seems to fit right for me. I'd love to hear what other stones or crystals you would combine with this deck. Looking at the backs, maybe it should be something in blue and maybe moonstones. Don't know, but for me, that's what I'm going to do. And so I shuffled the cards, and just for fun, we're going to take the top cards. This is the Seer that we're going to be working with. So it's our Seer of Dreams, to be conscientious, work on manifesting, and reality shifting. Okay, combined with many paths to a bright future. I got to say, this is the one card that doesn't thrill me in the deck so far, but a Seer of Dreams and being conscientious of manifesting a bright future, and allowing it to arrive. Well, it's a nice message. It really is. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I don't know how many other people did the pre-order or got a release from Hay House with this deck, but I would say I'm finding it quite fascinating, and I haven't even experienced the whole of the book yet. So I think also it might be a good deck for summer. Just the colors in it seem to be singing a little bit of summer. But I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to say have a great day. And if you have this deck, is it singing for you? I'd like to know.